What's good everyone, and welcome back to Chefkoch, your go-to channel for exploring the meaning, history and culture behind rap music, one story at a time. Leave a like and a sub if you enjoy content like this, join the brand new community Discord through the link in the description if you'd like to talk about rap and get regular updates on the channel. And now, sit back and enjoy today's video in which we're going to revisit the most important hip-hop incidents and my favorite releases of 2025. A lot has happened in the rap cosmos this year and it was not always easy to keep track of everything, so hopefully this video will give you a good summary of yet another amazing year for hip-hop. I will give you a breakdown of all the highlights in a chronological order from January to December, and in the background you will be able to watch some of my favorite music videos of this year. So with that out of the way, let's jump right in with January. January was a relatively calm month for hip-hop, but we still had highlights like the posthumous album Balloonerism by Mac Miller or Showbiz by Mike. Next to that, the underground scenes were cooking up a lot with releases like The Peak by Smoke Dope 2016, which fits into the cloud rap sonority, Darko by Redda, which is a supertrap album, as well as Shine Forever by Lil Shine, and Jump Out by Osama-son. And now let's move on to February. In February, we got blessed with the album Life is Beautiful by Larry June, 2 Chainz and The Alchemist, a unique collab tape on which Larry and 2 Chainz cruise over contemplative soul loops by Alk. Other than that, we got What the Fang by UK artist Fang and Angel of Hearts by Angel May Cry that I personally enjoyed. In addition, underground rapper Flu Hanshos was released from jail and made his musical comeback, something I never imagined happening in 2025 since Flu actually was fighting 6 entire murder charges. Next to that, February of course was a great month for Kendrick Lamar since he won 5 Grammys and headlined the Super Bowl halftime show, so it was a really successful month for hip hop overall. But moving on, let's switch to March. First of all, the highly anticipated album I Am Music by Playboi Carti finally dropped on March 14th after 5 years of waiting. And that day really broke the internet. It for sure was one of the biggest events for rap this year and everybody was listening to the project, but not everybody enjoyed it since I Am Music had a very specific concept and sound. It basically was a love letter to Lil Wayne and early 2010s Atlanta music like trap, crunk or futuristic swag, and thereby was deeply indebted to DatPiff era southern rap mixtapes that shaped Playboi Carti during his upbringing. So if you're a fan of that era yourself, Music for sure is an amazing project, but since not everybody understood this vision, I Am Music was not worth the wait for a portion of his fanbase. However, other highlights of March included From the Private Collection of Saba and No Idea, as well as Oi by UK rapper YT. But now let's go on to April. April was a very solid month for hip-hop thanks to projects like Back in Business, the comeback album by Shoreline Mafia, which came 5 years after the last release. In addition, for the classic hip-hop enjoyers, we got projects like Gods and Vengeance by Benny Pass, The Good, The Bad, The Dollar Menu by Ray Vaughn, and Pepperholic Volume 1 by Papo 2004 and Subject 5. And for the more experimental releases of April, we have Revenge Seekers by Gen Remover, Star by Two Hollows, More Chaos by Ken Carson, and For the Love of Money by Nayonte. And coming up, we have the month of May. May was another strong month for the underground with the release of Unmusique by Lucy Bedrock, one of the best experimental tapes of this year for sure, Midnight Blastic by Apollo Red 1, GTA 9 by Slam Cito, For Soldiers Only by Devstacks, as well as Molly and Her Week of Wonders by Molly Santana. But also the abstract hip-hop scene was cooking up a lot in May with albums like Trainspotting by Rome Street and Conductor Williams, Black Hole Super Red by Aesop Rock, as well as Gollywog by Billy Woods. In addition, we saw the return of the East Coast vs West Coast beef in May. It was mostly Joey Badass and CJ Fly vs West Coast rappers like AZ Chike, Daylight, Ray Vaughn and Reason, and we received many talented diss tracks during that time. And now comes my favorite month of 2025 for hip hop, June. Musical highlights of this month included albums like Slimy Fella by Hard Rock, Trompe l'œil by Until Japan, The Death of Oxy by Dead Right, as well as Rebel by Liverpool rapper SD Kid, which has to be an album of the year contender for me. Thanks to this project, SD went completely viral globally and was catapulted up to 11 million monthly listeners, an insane number for someone who has been in the game for only a year. And staying with the UK, Little Simz returned with their album Lotus, and if you take a look at the other side of the Atlantic again, Slick Rick dropped Victory in June, his first album in 26 years, which was released thanks to NASA's Master P label as part of its Legend Has It series, which can be considered as 2025's most ambitious effort to preserve the legacy of hip-hop's golden age, and we will be mentioning the Legend Has It series later in the video again. And moving on to the next month, July was packed with good music. This month we got blessed with Eclipse comeback with the Grammy-nominated album Let God Sort Them Out, with Don't Tap the Glass by Tyler the Creator, and with Alfredo 2 by Freddie Gibbs and The Alchemist. The rapper-producer duo for sure was able to reconnect the spark of the first installment, mirroring its bright shift with jazzy retro-fusion beats that draw from 60s and 70s soul music, making it one of the most interesting releases of 2025 in my opinion. In addition, we witnessed a Jack Boys comeback in June with the second album 6 years after the first installment. However, the record was quite disappointing in my opinion. There was nothing really memorable on here, at least for me. But switching to the underground, in July we had great releases like Rest in Bass by Che, an insanely chaotic rage project with blown out 808s and EDM influenced production, In Haze by Nokia Angel, which fits into the cloud rap sonority, and then we have Leverage by B6, as well as New Detroit by Lilo, and Black British Music by Jim Legacy. So July overall really was a great month for hip hop. And now let's go on to August. August again was an active month with releases like the very anticipated God Does Like Ugly by JID, Supreme Clientele 2 by Ghostface Killah, The Coldest Profession by DJ Premier and Rock Marciano, Lonely at the Top by Joey Badass, as well as Live Love Love by Earl Sweatshirt, which was one of the most fun releases of 2025 in my opinion. It was great seeing Earl being optimistic on an album for once. And other highlights of the month included Electronic Dream 2 by Arab Music, Rooster Slipped by Rooster aka Young God, and A Futuristic Summer by Military Woman, a love letter to futuristic swag. And if you want to know what this is about, I highly recommend watching my own designated video about it. But now let's switch to September. In September, Young Thug made his musical comeback with Closing Arguments, a diss track against Summer YSL label mates Gunna, Yak Gotti and Slime F Shorty for their choices during the YSL Rico case. And he also had this 3-hour-long interview in which he opened up about his experiences in jail. So with this song and interview, Thug was back on everybody's radar and his fans were waiting patiently for a new album, which they would receive a couple of weeks later under the name UY Scotty. But sadly it was a real disappointment. At least for me, this record has no replay value at all, and with the recent Thugger statements on the internet, it really seems like this man is doing everything to sabotage his own career. But another artist who made his comeback in September was Jay Electronica. He dropped 3 entire albums and re-released his debut EP on streaming platforms, and moving to the underground again, highlights of the month included Baby Row 2 by Glock for Despairs, Broken Hearts 3 by The So Lonely, First Round by Draft Day, as well as M4 by Marino Infantry, The Label and Collective by ASAP Ant and his peers. And now let's talk about the October highlights. In October, Westside Gunn continued his generational run with Heels of Ice 3. He already released 2 albums and 1 EP in 2025 prior to that, but the third installment of the Heels of Ice series has to be my personal favorite. In addition, we got blessed with Infinite, the first full-length Mobb Deep album since 2014 and the first since Prodigy's death. It's a project that honored Mobb Deep's legacy without trying to recreate it by using unreleased Prodigy verses and new production from Havoc and The Alchemist, and it works surprisingly well. Other than that, the album Harlem's Finest, The Return of the King by Big L was released posthumously in October, 26 years after Big L's death. Both Infinite as well as Harlem's Finest are part of Master P's Legend Has It series, and Nas also raised $1 million to donate to the Hip Hop Museum in the Bronx. so October was a very important month in which the industry honored the golden era of hip-hop, which is always great to see. And yet another highlight of October was the musical comeback of UK rapper Dave, with his album The Boy Who Played the Harp. And moving to the underground, great projects like Black Fridays by 13 Degrees, Insiders by 7:30 at Morning, as well as Fingers Crossed by Quest-E were released. And coming up we have the month of November. In November we witnessed the comeback of De La Soul, approaching their 40th year as a group, which also was part of the Legend Has It series. And other highlights of the month included Mercy by Arm & Hammer, The Sword and the Soaring by Navy Blue, which might be his most balanced and deliberate work to date. And then we also got Criminally Attached by Boldy James and Nicholas Craven. Boldy had a crazy run in 2025 with the release of 9 entire albums, but this one right here has to be my favorite. And moving to the underground, November was a really great month thanks to projects like Sin Ever After by 1am, Still Going the EP by Mexico Dro, DS6 by Redda, Colorblind by Swapper, as well as LYD by Danny Kyoko. And other highlights of the month included the second season of the Vince Staples Show on Netflix. Next to that, the rap group Salt-N-Pepa and Outkast were inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. And rapper Max B was released from jail after being incarcerated for 16 years. He already announced an upcoming album, so let's see if the Wave God still has it in him. And last but not least, let's talk about December. December was a relatively calm month for hip-hop again, but highlights of the month included Light Years by Nas and DJ Premier, as well as Forever I Love Atlanta by TM88, an homage tape to Atlanta Trap by one of the most important producers of the genre. With that being said, we arrived at the end of the yearly rap recap, so as a conclusion, we really were blessed with countless outstanding albums in 2025. That's why for me it has to be one of the strongest years in recent times for hip-hop. A lot of rap veterans returned to the scene, mostly thanks to the Legend Has It series, but also many newcomers went viral this year and the mainstream was introduced to talented artists like 1300 Saint, Baby Chief Do It, SD Kid, Fake Mink, Mexico Dro, Teasers, Zucchini and many more that I will be covering on my channel in the months to come. But sadly 2025 also was a year full of grief in which we once again lost way too many talented artists. I'm especially thinking of DJ Funk, Lil Zelly, Maxon, Wi-Fi Skeleton, Young Bleed, Young Noble and Young Scooter, so rest in peace to everyone we lost this year. I honestly hope that 2026 will be a less violent and disturbing year, but at least we can confidently conclude that 2025 was a very good year for rap, musically speaking. And with that being said, thank you so much for watching this video till the end, leave a like if you enjoyed it and don't forget to subscribe to the channel, that helps me out a lot. Cheers!